Visa Cash App Racing Bulls. Is there a worse Formula One team name? I'm not sure that there is. I've been stewing on this for a little bit. I wasn't going to make a video on it, but I had a few things that I wanted to get off my chest. This isn't a scripted video. I've got a few bullet points here. I'm just going to talk and get a few things off my chest that I wanted to say about it. Because I think the name is, well, it's terrible, isn't it? Now, Alpha Tauri itself, I like the name, but it was named after the fashion brand, Red Bull's fashion brand, which I'm not really sure if it's taken off. I don't know enough about fashion to know, but what I do know is that I've never really seen any of it, but it was a promotional tool. They were using that team as a promotional tool to, you know, promote their fashion brand, which is fine. Before that, it was Torro Rosso, which was just an Italian name, which I think meant Red Bull. It was just an Italian translation. Visa Cash App Racing Bulls, on the other hand, well, it doesn't really have much of an identity, does it? Now, I want to say something first so we can at least balance the books here. I'm not happy with the name. I think it's terrible, but having sponsor names in Formula One team it's nothing new. It's been happening for a long time. Formula One is a sponsor game, all right? So I've written down the teams here. Mercedes, AMG, Petronas, that's their headline sponsor. Oracle, Red Bull Racing. This changed a few years ago when Oracle became, you know, their headline sponsor. Aston Martin, Aramco. BWT, Alpine. MoneyGram, Haas. All of these teams have got sponsors in their name, and often the sponsor becomes before the team name, which I think in itself is wrong. I think there should be a rule that the team name should be first, then a sponsor at the end, if that's what they want to do. I don't think the sponsor should ever come before the team identity, but it does, and I don't think anyone really has a problem with any of these names. The only 3 teams that don't have sponsors in their official team name is Ferrari, McLaren, and Williams. And Williams arguably are the team that could do with the cash the most. They're the only 3. Now, there is one that I've missed out, of course. Stake F1 team, Kick Sauber. That is their official name. Stake F1 team, Kick Sauber. Now, for those of you who don't know, Stake is it's a gambling company. They have now got a sponsorship deal. After Alfa Romeo have pulled out, they've got a sponsorship deal. That is only going to last for 2 years because Audi are taking over in 2026. So Stake, F1 team. That's fine, okay, whatever. I don't love the brand, but that's fine. Then afterwards, Kick. Now, Kick is a gaming platform, much like Twitch, owned by Stake. So Stake have got 2 of their brands in the team name for whatever reason. And then Sauber, well, they run the team. It is Sauber that is running that team. Now, that team name, I thought, that's terrible. Until Alpha Tauri came out with Visa Cash App. I feel like my biggest issue with this is that, well, let's start with the first bit is they're getting so much closer to Red Bull. The team is moving much of its operation to Milton Keynes to be closer to Red Bull. It's moving them to Red Bull's Milton Keynes campus later this year. And there's already been talk that there's going to be closer links between Alpha Tauri, Cash App Racing Bulls, and Red Bull. And now they've gone and called themselves Racing Bulls. So you've got Red Bull and the Racing Bulls that we're meant to believe are entirely independent teams. But to me, for a new fan, that's really confusing. You've got Red Bull and the Racing Bulls. They've got similar logos on their cars, but we're meant to believe that they're entirely independent. Okay, well, let's assume that they are. The biggest issue I have here, and I just feel like this is more than with any other team. Every other team to me, apart from, I would say, Stake, maybe Alpine, has a brand, okay? Red Bull have a huge brand. So yes, they've got Oracle in front of their name, but it's Red Bull. Then you've got Mercedes. We know, big brand. They've had a partnership with Petronas. for a long time. Even Aston Martin and Aramco I can accept because, you know, Aston Martin is at the forefront. Visa Cash App Racing Bulls, in their official team name, is actually just Visa Cash App RB. So in their official team name, they're lessening their own name to promote Visa Cash App, if you see what I mean. They're making a point of not saying their full name, Racing Bulls. We'll just have RB. We'll just have the letters RB, so that we can highlight our main sponsor, Visa Cash App. Now, to me, that seems like the team has completely sold any identity it had for a payday and a sponsor. Because at that point, it's not like it's Mercedes Visa or McLaren Visa or something like that. This is Visa Cash App RB. Do you know what I mean? It's very weird. And it's not like, the Alpha Tauri haven't been a popular team on the grid. I feel like they have. I feel like Alpha Tauri, Torro Rosso had an identity, but it feels like now that identity's gone. And they're just going, yeah, we've got this B team. Let's just, make some money off it and throw a title sponsor at it and see where it ends up. It feels a little bit like a kick in the teeth to the employees to me. Maybe that's unfair. I just don't like the way that Formula One is going. I feel like this has been going this way for a long time. We're taking on loads of new tracks, all street circuits. It's all based on money, sponsorship. That's nothing new. And like I say, a lot of teams, bar from 3, have sponsors in their name, so we can't be angry about it. I just feel as though this one has gone a step too far. And I feel like the sport is risking its identity a little bit. In the US, it's normal, well, taking IndyCar as an example, to have sponsorship labeled all over the car. It will be like the Andretti, DHL, whatever it might be. It's pretty normal. I don't know exactly how many cars Andretti have, but let's say they've got 4. They might only have 3. I'm sure someone could correct me, but all of their cars will have different branding on them. They'll all have different sponsors, different colours. They don't have a team identity necessarily in IndyCar in America. And I'm not saying that that's going to happen, but I'm worried that we're going to a point now where the sport is risking its identity a little bit because sponsorship now and these naming conventions are so big. Are we maybe going to go down a line in the next 4 or 5 years where F1 allows teams to have different liveries on each car, like IndyCar, or like BAR tried to do all those years ago and ended up with the zipped livery? I'm not necessarily saying that's what's going to happen, but could it happen? I don't know. I just feel like it doesn't sit well with me, this Visa Cash App name, and I'm just worried what the commentators are going to. Are they just going to call it the Racing Bulls? They're probably going to call it Alpha Tauri. I'm going to call it Alpha Tauri by mistake. It just feels like it's lost a bit of identity, the team, and well, to put it frank, I don't like it. But credit where credit's due. They've messed this one up. All I hope for is that they have a contactless season, and I just think we're all hoping that they won't reach the limit of their ability. Any more puns? I don't think I had any more puns written down. Anyway, that's a good point to end, isn't it? Visa Cash App, Racing Bulls' worst team in F1 history. Yeah, see you next time.